Sam Moelis here at his club for the first time as a world champion. Sam, tell us what did it feel like to achieve that mark of being a cadet world champion?
It's just an unbelievable feeling. I don't know how to put it into words, you know. For so many years, I've watched on YouTube all these fencers at world championships, whether it's cadet or junior or senior, but especially cadet, because I found it the most relatable that I'd watch them on YouTube and watch them win, and I never thought I'd actually make it to that stage. This year my goal was to make a world championship team, I never even thought about what I would do at the competition. So the fact that I went in there and did what I had to do and represent the country is just an unbelievable feeling.
And you talk about kind of that idea of being a world champion and how it was just something you watched before. In past interviews, a lot has been said about the expectation here at Brooklyn Bridge and about being a champion, being a professional. How did you feel that kind of impacted your approach to the tournament this year?
I think that the approach that from what I've learned from this club, and like I always say, what Race and Dan have taught me, is that when you go to a competition, as you will do whatever you want to do as long as you're confident in the training that you've done. And you can only be confident in the training that you've done when you actually put in the work here. So going into the competition, I knew that I had really put in the hours, I put in the blood, sweat, and tears into this amazing club, and I went into World Championships saying I can do anything because I put in the work for it.
And every day, some of your toughest bouts are against Olympians and people that you go into junior and cadet championships and that's a win you can take.
Yeah, and someone like Dan, and Dan always tells me, he's like, if you can hit Race, you can hit anybody, which is really the case right now. So a lot of times I'll be working on actions and I'll be doing it against Race or even other high-level fencers in the club, and I'll try to do actions and they won't work, and I lose 15-2, 15-1, and that's just very common. And then when I bring it to competition, I do the exact same actions and I hit, and it's like, okay, like I can do it, okay, like I can do that, So. Definitely this club has just given me everything.
And you talked about expectations at the beginning of the season, goal of making a team, and let alone being a champion. This year you're a national champion, Div 1 national champion, cadet world champion. Bring us back a year ago. What were your goals for this season, and what did you think was realistic for you to achieve?
Well, last season ended on a really tough note. It was in Portland for Junior Olympics, and I ended up losing a really tough bout. I was winning 14-11 against another fencer, and I ended up losing in the round of 16, 15, 14, and that would have qualified me just for the third spot of a cadet world championship team. And my goal for the next year was just to make a cadet team. I was really hoping to be third again, lock that spot on, and then sweep the cadet tournaments, the cadet national competitions, hopefully medal, maybe at a couple of juniors, maybe a couple of seniors, and then just go from there and see if I can rock cadet world championships. Never did I believe that anything other than that would happen.
So I mean, that's a huge contrast between what you were hoping for and what you actually achieved. What was most impactful, or what contributed most to you actually realizing a lot of these goals you never anticipated?
I think what really helped me the most was confidence. I talk about it a lot with Dan, how I always felt as if when I did well, whether I did well consistently or not, that I did well because I had a good day, because I fenced well that day, and that if I wasn't fencing well that day, that I just was any other average fencer. And when I began to go to these competitions and more I consistently did well, and I continued to speak with Dan, and it made me realize that I can do anything as long as I just continue to put in the work. So.
And now you kind of capped off the cadet junior component of your season. What's next for you? Seniors?
What's next for me? Hopefully next year I may start doing some senior World Cups. There's going to be one in San Jose, I believe. So I'm definitely going to be going to that one. I may possibly be going to Cuba, and maybe something outside of the Western Hemisphere. I'm not really sure yet. But now I'm just focusing on juniors. I feel like I went into World Championships and no one really knew exactly who I was, and I'm glad that I put on a show for everyone. But now there's no surprising anyone now. I feel like I have a little bit of blood on me, and the juniors are sharks, and they're going to smell that. for real.
All right. Well, best of luck outswimming them, I guess, and in your continued progress and learning through the sport.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.